What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 4 of the Treehouse. I am here, joined as always by Dan Lear, and I got Max over there producing this episode of the Treehouse. Now, if you're watching this, we have 3 very, very special guests today. These guys are Sixers legends on social media. I have enjoyed 2 tailgates this season with my man Dan over here. They were both out of control. What happens at the tailgate, we try to keep it at the tailgate, except when we recorded a live podcast there, which was absolutely insane. But I have Process Potables up at HQ with us today. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
I have engineer Korey over here, Dan Morgan, our main Process Potables guy, and the co-host over here, Mr. Steve. How you doing, man?
Good. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Mr. Steve.
Mr. Steve.
I don't think anyone's called me special, so I'm a little taken back.
Really?
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure growing up.
You guys are very, very
Yeah.
special to us. But yeah, guys, so, thanks for coming up. As everyone knows, if you watched us before, if you haven't, DSGN Tree, we sell a lot of apparel for a lot of cool podcasts, blogs. We're wearing it right now. Also wearing it. Doodle artist on the table. Geico, no free ads. So we
Corporate, man.
We'll blur that out. It's cool. Sixers is fine. But, yeah, so, we try to get up, our goal this year is to get every single branch from DSGN Tree up here to talk to us. Kind of dive in more behind the people that we work with, right? So, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you guys real quick and just tell us a little bit about Process Potables for those who don't know. I'm obviously familiar, Dan is as well, but, for people who might not know who you guys are, if that's even the case, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but what's up, guys?
So basically, we wanted to do a Sixers podcast. I guess like you said, I didn't even really want to do a Sixers podcast. It's kind of baited into doing one by a friend who wanted to do one and asked me to do it with him. And then very early on, he flaked out. So here I am still doing it. I'm not exactly sure why, but having a good time, I guess.
Yeah.
We just wanted to do something different. There's a lot of Philly sports podcasts. There's a lot of Sixers podcasts, 4for4 podcasts, and a lot of great ones, especially, like you said, friends. We've met at the tailgate. We Process. Got Philly Special podcast. We got Broad Street Buddies.
Yeah. Well, we'll hold off on Mr. Broad Street Buddies over here.
Well, we're going to have a conversation. But, we just wanted to see what we could do that would be unique. We didn't want to be and step on anybody's toes or anything and find a niche that we could kind of corner the market on. And so we figured we like the Sixers, and what else do we like? And we're a big fan of beer, too. Brought a couple different ones that we've actually featured on past episodes.
Nice.
To give you guys a little taste, a little sample of what we do. So we talk beer, we talk breweries, we go to the breweries and interview owners, brewers, talk about the community, talk about the business, talk about the beer, everything like that. Just put our own little spin on it. And,
Love it.
The same way DSGN Tree is, like, you guys are... You're in the business side of printing these shirts, but you're also creating a community between all of us content creators. And so we want to, we love working with other content creators too, whether we bring them on our pod, come on their pods, things like that. We also are doing that now with breweries, where we're going and doing our thing there, sharing their brand, getting them to share our brand. So it's just, people helping people and making sure that good products are getting as much exposure as possible.
Right. I mean, that's really like, our mindset of it too, which is, why we enjoy working with you guys. And like you mentioned, we the Process, Victor Williams and everything. It's bringing everyone together. I mean, we're not really in the same industry as you guys. We actually print the shirts, but, we talk about Philly sports and stuff too. And it's just like making those cross connections with other people. And, it doesn't always have to be so cutthroat. We could all work together, create content together. I know we've talked about some things coming up this year. A lot of cross promotion there as well too. So I definitely feel you there. And I know, when we first were even introduced to you guys, you were a part of Painted Lines. our Philly front office at the time. Regardless, I met you through Jason Blevins. We actually had shirts up on there. You guys actually went out, did your own thing. Now you're hooked up with Kyle Bennett, who's also a part of the design tree through Underground Sports.
Absolutely.
So we absolutely love working with Underground Sports. Kyle's a great guy, and when we saw that you guys joined that, obviously we were pumped. And then I just got some unique footage of you playing the drums and Tim Faltano singing.
And were you on bass at that point?
Oh, Jesus Christ, I forgot about that. Yeah.
The bassist.
Oh, were you? Okay.
2011 or 12? Probably 2012, probably.
The story so far covers.
That the second I had to think of where Tim came in, and yes, that was 2012.
Yeah, and I know, Max, you probably know the story so far over there. Big thing. Our other producer, Mikey Lentz, who's not here anymore, but they work on a podcast called To All the Crowded Rooms, which is all about like indie music and everything. Pretty cool. You guys got to check it out. But that just even reinforces the idea of how, you're just making connections through other connections. Obviously, the twist with the beer, I love it. I always tweet you pictures of my craft beer.
Idea.
Just letting you know how am I looking. I'm new to the craft beer thing, but
Yeah, the music thing is like a really big deal to me and Korey as well, and Steve supported us through the years, having to go to 800 VFW shows,
yeah.
but like that's how I treat this, and I want to see more people doing it. Is exactly like I don't look at any of these other podcasts as competition.
Right.
Like I look at it as opportunities to jump on somebody else's platform and get my name out there and make them look better. My friend, Brandon Apter, who does a Sixers podcast, I hopped on one of his episodes. I was on there Friday, but one of his episodes like a month or so ago, he texted me a couple of days later. He's like, dude, this is one of like the better episodes we've had. Like, I go on and then it's like, people that listen to Process Potables want to tune in and listen because they listen to me and want to hear it there. And then when I bring people like Tim's been on twice, if I had Victor on, like bring them on, and then their audience want to come listen to us. So like it's all good.
Yeah.
There's no people consume content. I truly think we talk about wanting to be different because of how much content is out there. But at the same time, I think most people would say that they don't have enough content still.
Right.
Like honestly, it's crazy. And when you're in it, it's hard to see it that way because all you pay attention to is there's all these people doing this and all these people doing that. But the average person is like maybe they know one or two Philly sports podcasts or Sixers podcasts, and the minute they find out there's another one, they're right on it.
Right.
I just went through that this weekend, and our episode with Nick yesterday is killing it.
Right. Yeah, and I know you've worked with other people on Twitter. Nick Johnson Art has awesome Sixers designs. I know Marty Teller's been on there a few times.
Should be back on this week.
Nice. Better be, Marty. I really enjoyed that one. I haven't listened to the Nick one yet, but I definitely will. He's a real good dude, and again, he's a guy who makes T-shirts. He doesn't make them with us, but anyone who's out there creating stuff and just getting involved and connecting with people, that's what it's all about for us, for sure. So, I'm all on board. I think we should drink some beers and dive into the Sixers. Another big road win today. Ben Simmons went absolutely insane up in Brooklyn again.
Yes.
So, let's pour some beers and get into it, guys.
Let's do it.
What do
What
we
do we want
got?
to start with?
So we got kind of like a light, a medium, and a dark. So you got three different
Okay.
palettes here. I would think as far as going one or the other, you might want to start light and finish dark, because if you drink the dark first, then it might kind of overpower your palate.
Okay. Hey,
So-
don't look at me, man. You guys are the beer guys.
So this was the beer on our episode yesterday with Nick. This is
I
from
heard
Double
that.
Nickel in Pensauken.
Double nickel. Okay.
Place I was supposed to have my wedding at, but things did not work out. But we've
We
gotten
still
over
like
that. We've
Yeah.
gotten over that.
And you're
bridge.
married. I met your wife at the Eagles tailgates. Lovely lady.
So this is called Animal Style, obviously a nod to In-N-Out Burger on the West Coast, and it's a West Coast IPA, which is really the only correlation I can draw between them. But the artwork on the can is awesome, and I'm usually more of a New England IPA guy, which is usually a little sweeter, a little more juicy, but West Coast a little more like a pale ale.
Okay.
Like maybe like a Yards Philly pale ale or something along those lines if you want to pass that down.
Yeah.
But this is probably the best
really
West Coast IPA I've ever had.
Nice.
Very big fan of it. Went to Double Nickel on Friday and had a couple of their beers and got a little connection there. Just got the email back from them today. We'll should have something in the works pretty soon there. So
Very
I'm excited
cool.
to go check it out because their tasting room's awesome. Huge building. Right on 73 by like Tacony Palmyra.
Oh, okay.
They've got like games inside and stuff and TVs and the whole work. So it's awesome. Always have food trucks. So it's nice. So cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yeah,
Cheers.
cheers.
I believe it used to be an old like pool supply place or no, it used to be a
Something like
gym or a spa, which is why it's so big in there. And I think
Oh, and that's why it smelled like a.
Great.
there used to be a pool where the actual brewing room is.
Yeah,
That
it
I
smelled
know.
like an
They
indoor
filled
water
that in.
park on Friday.
That's
I said that
pretty
the
funny.
morning, so that makes
Fascinating.
sense.
There we
That
go.
is really good.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
So it's nice and light, but there's still like a lot of flavor to it.
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, I'm an IPA guy through and through anyway.
Yeah,
So,
same.
yeah, it's great. And then actually, I need to hook you guys up with Bald Birds Brewing. They just opened one in Manayunk. They were originally up Turnpike, not too far from here, but they sell all their apparel on Design Tree.
Nice.
sweet.
Really cool guys. Our VP of sales is actually really good friends with a guy who was like an investment banker, quit his job to brew beer, and now has like 2 huge breweries. One's right down on Main Street in Manayunk too. So
Well, if there's one thing we need to do is get more PA breweries.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, so we will definitely hook that up and go down there and drink. They have this double cherry IPA, which is absolutely insane. It's really good, but I like this.
Now the sidebar, have either of you guys had In-N-Out Burger before?
Yeah, I actually just had it about 2 weeks ago. I was in,
Yeah, you were just out there.
I was in
Oh,
Cali.
you're still thinking about it, aren't you?
Dude,
I mean, that really looks
it's really
very
good.
animal styled. It's
Yeah,
great.
so what is
Yeah.
how does Animal Style, is that in reference to In-N-Out or is it just
Yeah,
the
it's like
design?
their secret, menu where it's
Oh,
just
okay.
basically their sauce,
Oh.
cheese, and fried onions on a burger or fries.
Or the fries.
Yeah,
It sounds like you need to go
That's
back
awesome.
to
Yeah, I think you
Cali
might have missed
to
it.
actually get a double double with
Yes.
animal style
Yeah,
on your fries and your
I
burger.
could do that.
We
I
gotta
could
stop
do
talking
that.
about it.
I passed up on going to In-N-Out Burger last time I was in California, and here's why.
What?
So I was leaving LA, and I'm on my way to the airport, and I stopped and grabbed a bunch of weed because it's illegal out there. And in LAX, you can literally
Yeah,
fly
they
out
don't
with
give a
whatever
shit,
you want.
no.
And I had this pretty much a duffel bag just filled with weed,
Jesus.
gummies, edibles,
I wish
everything.
I knew that.
And I was stoned to the gills. My girlfriend was operating our rent-a-car, everything. She got me home nice and safe. Thank you, Lauren. But I was about to stop at In-N-Out. We had plenty of time to do so, but I was a little nervous about eating that right before hopping off on a plane from LAX to Philly. So I bailed out. I do regret
I kind
it.
of respect
but
that decision.
You know what I mean? Because
don't.
like when you're stoned,
I
you just
respect
start
that
eating
decision.
stuff.
How old are you?
24.
Yeah, so you don't have to respect it.
And what's great because there's an In-N-Out Burger right outside of LAX, and
Yes.
also El Segundo's out there. Their brewery, they were fantastic.
Stone Cold,
so-
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Stone Cold IPA.
Oh, there you go.
So
Oh, that's funny.
He's got his own beer that they brew.
Right.
So that's,
Gotcha. All right. Well,
Broken Skull.
let's keep
Yeah.
this going. This one I'm really excited about because I've been trying to buy this coffee stout.
Oh, we're good. Orange.
Oh, you don't want to keep going? You want to wait? You want to space it out a little bit?
Enjoying it a little bit.
I'm an alcoholic, so
It's not a Miller Lite, man. Give it a minute. Let it
we've been
breathe.
tailgating. But
It's like a
you know
nice
how it
red.
goes.
You know, you stir. Yeah.
I got you. You're connoisseurs over here.
You were talking about Ben Simmons.
Yes. So, looking at Ben Simmons today, 34 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, 5 steals, and 2 blocks. He pretty much was aggressive the entire second half too, which I really like that.
Huge. Yeah.
Should have had 6 assists in the fourth. I know a couple people missed some wide open shots. And for that one stretch, we took like 4 or 5 threes in a row, and I was like, are we really going to blow this game right now? But
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, so I want to give credit where credit is due for some of the numbers I have. Austin Krell of the Painted Lines. Excuse you.
bless you.
sorry,
That was a big cough,
that was
man.
rude of me. Sorry.
You're fine.
Austin
It's
Krell of the Painted Lines, my former website, did have the stat, at least that's where I saw, where in the fourth, Ben had 6 points and 3 assists, and he would have had 3 more assists
oh, there you go.
off of missed shots. Kevin Kincaid who Crossing Broad,
Yeah.
who made Steven known for a long time, noted that Ben was 10 of 14 from the foul line today. It's the most times he went to the line this season.
Wow.
And only the fourth time this year he's logged double-digit free throw attempts, which we all asked for. And then friend of the pod, ESPN's Jimmy McCormick. Ben Simmons tallied 34 points, 12 rebounds, 12 dimes, 5 steals, 2 blocks, 2 perfect cheekbones, and shot 85.7% from the floor in Brooklyn
He's a
today.
beautiful man.
No other NBA player on record dating to 1983 has ever produced at least 34, 12, 12, and 5. No other player since 1983 has put up that stat line.
All right. Well, here's a question.
So we're trading for D'Angelo Russell, right?
Yeah, that was my question. It's like, and on every single episode, I sit here. Last episode with Brandon Sports, I said, give this team to Ben Simmons, build around him. Him and Jay Rich have like a very good chemistry, and it continues to grow. Why the hell does everyone still want to trade Ben Simmons? When is he ever going to get the respect that he deserves? Does he have to shoot? Is that really what we came to?
Well, today he didn't.
Right. I agree with you. I don't think he has to shoot. Maybe a nice like mid-range would be nice every now and then, but at the same time, he puts out games like this and what he's been doing for the last 2 weeks. It's just maybe he doesn't have to.
Here's the thing that is interesting to me, because of course all this conversation comes with Joel Embiid out, and when you see Ben perform like this with Embiid out, then you have the people that start showing up about maybe they shouldn't have Embiid, maybe they don't work. Yeah. When we've seen 2 full seasons of them working, that's not my point at all. But Joel Embiid, this is something I've harped on so much since the beginning of the season, because I agreed so much with what he said. He said, like, I don't want to sit out games. I don't want to sit back-to-backs. I need to play more games, less minutes. It's hard to take a night off and, like, get back in rhythm. Like, his size, his conditioning, like, he has to keep being out there. So maybe they're not the best fit to play together. But in a perfect world, don't we want Joel Embiid to maybe only play, like, 25 minutes of his absolute best basketball, which means that you have at least 23 minutes where you can put one of those blitzing Ben Simmons lineups out there and let him just run up and down the court, and then maybe the small 10 to 14 minutes that Ben isn't playing are the times where Joel Embiid is carrying, a team with shooters around him, and they both need the same thing. Yeah. They both need shooters around them.
Right.
So you don't have to build 2 separate teams. They need the same thing.
Right.
Well, I mean,
I don't think it's that complicated.
One thing with that, I don't know if Joel's going to be okay playing 25 minutes a game, and that I would love that situation. I don't think he's going to love that. I think the thing that people you asked, why do people keep wanting to trade Ben Simmons? He's such a unique player that it like scares a lot of people, and they're just like, fuck this, we want D'Lo, who's like a pretty traditional type of player. But I think that's also what should excite you, because he's so unique and he can do all these things that we never see, and like the ball handling and the speed and the size and everything. That's why like his ceiling is so much higher than D'Angelo Russell's. It's not even
his ceiling's higher than almost anybody in the league.
It's ridiculously high.
And that's like a really good point too. It's almost to the point where it's just like people are scared of what they don't know. And you have someone like Ben Simmons, to your point, and to both Dan's points, he is such a unique talent that you're right. And people used to always say, there used to always be like, look, you're looking at a player and no one's ever seen a player like this before. It's a generational talent. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I love Ben Simmons too. But then you stop and you really look at it and you're like, wow, that is actually the truth. And it's like people have never seen this before. And I think that causes like a lot of animosity against Ben Simmons because he's not that traditional player. But when you bring it back and it's like, Joel Embiid, like, are we a better team with him? Absolutely 100%. Yeah. But is he the guy that can play this aggressive, run the floor, I'm going to take it right to the rim, dunk it in your face, dish it out for someone to hit a 3? Like, I don't know if he fits into that type of style of play.
Yeah, and they're going to have to play in the fourth quarter together.
Right.
Yeah, and obviously come playoff time, Joel Embiid isn't going to be playing 20, 25 minutes.
No.
He's going to be playing closer to 40, so... I mean, I'm not too worried about it. And Ben Simmons, who was, also named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, during that span, he averaged 21.3 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 7.3 assists.
And that was before today's game.
Yeah.
So that's going up.
And
Yeah,
I think
that's-
part of it too is like whether it's D'Angelo, Russell or Brennan Ingram. I think part of it is just people live in this idea that first of all the process lasted 10 years.
Oh yeah.
So
resentment.
people like that, they're just not patient with Ben having to develop that jump shot. And we've said on the podcast ad nauseum, like I don't give a shit if he shoots it three or not. Like you said earlier, I would want to see a little mid-range jumper. Hell, I'd just give me 70% from the free throw line.
Yeah.
And because just him going to the basket is going to be that much valuable when he's making 1 or 2 at the line.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was that still of when the Sixers played the Bucks on Christmas of Giannis having pretty much all the way to inside the free throw line available, but he's taking the 3, and people were like, okay, well, like, if Ben can't hit them, then why do you think it's going to open up anything? And I literally took the picture and, like, photoshopped 2 red X's on the corners of the key, and I said, that's where I want him to go.
Yeah.
Not the 3-point arc. Right to that line. We've seen it. He gets there every time, and then he jumps in the air and looks for where the pass should go. That's what everyone gets so mad about, and I think that's fair.
Right.
He can walk right up to that point and take that shot with no defense in his face whatsoever. That's the frustrating part.
I agree.
And he's still putting up these numbers not doing it.
Right. And, it's just tough. I mean, I don't know. I still think we kind of have a little bit of an identity problem. Is it fixable? Yes. Are we going to fix it? I really do believe we will fix it. But it's almost a gift and a curse that we have Ben Simmons kind of running the show right now in a time where we needed to know and see Ben Simmons actually step up and do something like this.
Well, I mean, you saw it 2 years ago?
Yep.
And they rattle off the 16 in a row.
Oh, yeah.
When it was him, like, we've seen him do it before. And
Right.
people are so quick to forget.
Right. He did it in Brooklyn last year in the playoffs. Like
He had to do it in the beginning of the Miami series that same year after they went 16-0. He had to do it in Brooklyn last year. He continues to dominate Brooklyn for his entire career.
Right.
And people want to harp on him for the past couple of weeks. He hasn't been playing as well in this second half of the game. Well, his defensive output is still there. A lot of these shooters, whether it's a Brandon Ingram or D'Angelo Russell, they go for 3 for 12 to start the game. Well, that's it. They contribute nothing else.
And not only that, when you look at that on Twitter, everyone always puts up those fourth quarter stats. And yeah, obviously Ben Simmons hasn't been playing that well, but no one ever puts in defensive stats, or they never put as many assists as he has. I think over the last couple of games, in the fourth quarter, and again, I'm not really checking stats, but I do watch the games. Like his assists, I mean, the one game I know he had like 6 or 7 assists in the fourth quarter, and he only had 2 points. So what does everyone jump on Twitter and say? Ben Simmons can't finish a game, and he's not scoring late in the game. But that's just really not the whole picture, and it's not really fair to say.
And I know even as recently as about a week ago, and I seriously doubt that it's changed, that he led the league in 3-point assists. Like, he generated the most 3-pointers off of his assists. You talk about a team that is constantly being told they don't shoot enough of them, and all we all complain about is that they can't shoot them, but yet this guy has the most 3-point assists in the league. Like, what does that tell you? One, like, they're hitting them okay because he's getting the assist, and 2, like, he's generating that. So complain about his spacing all you want. He's getting his team the most good 3-point looks and having them made in the entire NBA.
And look,
it seems good.
Whether it's Joel or Ben, I mean, neither of them are going to be like that closer because big men just traditionally aren't as great as closers, and Ben Simmons just doesn't have the jump shot to be that player. So you're going to need another guy either way, just like LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Like
Tobias.
That guy
Dwayne Wade was a
Tobias
closer.
Harris, man.
Yeah,
That's
Tobias is the perfect guy, and he's been doing it.
He's been doing it.
Why are we freaking out that Ben's not scoring in the fourth when we have another guy that is?
If you ask me, Tobias has been earning that big contract he got this summer.
Yeah.
Might even say he's underpaid.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but he still needs to get a little bit more consistent in my eyes, too.
Sure.
I mean, he is a max contract, perennial all-star, maybe every other game, if not every 3 games. Like, today, he did not play very well, I don't think, in the final minutes of that game.
No, he missed like 3 straight threes.
Yeah. And, I mean, I get it. You got to keep shooting, and it is proven with him that he will shoot his way out of it and make that big shot. The Knicks game, for example. But, I just would like to see some more consistency from him. And I know, at least from Dan's Twitter account, you are. Well, first, I'll say this. You have always been on Furkan's side.
I have. He's
From
my
the
guy.
start.
From the start.
From
my
the
guy.
start.
Good for you.
Now, I have strongly disagreed with you
Most
on
have.
that point. But have we finally found like a consistent Furkan over the last couple of games?
Define consistent.
A couple
The last
ga-
couple
I think
games,
couple
for sure.
games already answers your question.
And I've even said, like, the next time that he goes, 1 for 5 from 3, I know the pitchforks are coming
Right.
back. I think that's when, like, you have to live with that from guys. I mean, I'm as much as I try to lean into the bit. Now, like, I truly have believed in him, but
Right.
there's layers to these things.
Sure.
I don't think that he's a starter in the NBA.
No.
I think that he's a tremendous bench player, and he fills a role. Any guy who is not an NBA starter is going to have off games. He's going to miss shots, but you saw against Chicago that he can just absolutely catch fire. And at this point on this team, who do you trust to do that more?
I mean, there's literally no
There's
one
literally
on the
no
bench.
one. Even all the praise we have for Tobias, he's never getting that hot.
Right.
Yeah.
We're happy with like 37% from him. Furkan, I think over those 3 games we talked about yesterday, I think he was 54 from the field, and I think want to say like 57 from 3.
Yeah, I know with each month of the season, his 3-point percentage has gone up, and he's, I think for the season, just shy of 40%.
Right.
So, I mean, that bomber keeps growing and growing, baby.
Like I would venture to say, without looking it up at all, that there's probably not a 3-game stretch that Tobias Harris has shot over 50% from 3.
No. And that's also, the life of a NBA 3-point shooter. When that's your biggest skill set, a lot of those guys, they're going to go through those slumps.
Yeah.
Sure.
They just, kind of like in baseball where a hitter just has to hit his way out of it, a shooter's got to shoot his way out of it. And we haven't seen that too much with Furkan.
Definitely. And I mean, even when you look at that too, what is going on with our bench? Where I mean, Mike Scott, he played well today, but typically,
Woke up.
hopefully he can stay there. I don't know why NATO even has a place on this team. To be honest with you,
The whole bottom of the bench is so confusing because Brett just randomly is taking guys out of rotation, and we have no idea what's going on with them.
I don't know. We're good.
Kyle O'Quinn plays very sporadically. Howell Neto and Trey Burke keep trading off, and I didn't see any reason for Trey Burke to lose his role.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know either. And it's just like, I don't know when you look at this bench and going into, the playoffs and making a run, over the next 2 or 3 months, like, we're going to need some bench help.
And come to think of it, it's funny because just a couple weeks ago, we're like, Trey Burke has, earned his spot on the team and he became a guaranteed contract. And then it's like, around that time now, it's like,
That's a great
all
point.
right.
I forgot.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
Brett-
they fully
Brett
guaranteed the
doesn't
contract,
like
and then
him
like,
for
all right,
some
we
reason.
did you your due diligence. Now go sit down
And-
again.
And I know some people throw that out on Twitter, especially that guys like Jonah Bolden who made his 3rd cameo of the year, horrible one at that.
4 fouls in 8
Neto
minutes.
and Kyle Quinn, like maybe they're showcasing for trade potential, but I don't think that really helped them at all.
No,
man.
not at all.
Like,
And
If we've learned anything from this team in 3 years, it's 1, they can never boost anyone's trade value.
no.
And 2, these attempts to do it by playing them cold and after 12 games of them sitting is obviously not the way to do it, which I think anyone could have told you.
Yeah, and I don't think Kyle Quinn's going to pull an Amir Johnson and go down to Delaware for some minutes to,
No.
to stay warm.
Dominate
That's not
Delaware.
happening.
I start tweeting out like a bunch of different letters again.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? But I mean, all right. So looking at that with our bench and the current state of the Sixers, I made a statement the first episode of the Treehouse that if we weren't in the top 3 in the standings by the end of January, I was going to eat a T-shirt. It might kill me.
Got 11 days?
Yeah, and I said I
sounds
was
right.
going to eat a
You got
size
11 days.
triple XL too, so it wasn't a small
man.
T-shirt.
Can you like put gravy or something on it?
So
At
we're
least,
thinking.
like,
So here's
salt
what I've
and
been
cotton?
telling him. You have to. We're gonna get an air fryer in here.
Right.
We're gonna get some oil, And just bit by bit, a little bit each day, he's going to air fry his little section of t-shirt. And every day he's going to have a little snack.
Is this supposed to be better or worse?
I don't know. It might kill me, though.
I think that's going to be better, right?
So if I stop
Well,
responding to emails or DMs, like,
All
just
right,
assume that a t-shirt killed me.
So here's the good news. I'm looking at the standings on ESPN, and Toronto right now is the 3rd seed, and we are in the 6th seed, but we're also only 1 game back.
Right.
So
And we play Toronto Wednesday.
yeah, we play Toronto, so that could really
That's it.
help you or really
I thought
hurt
he
you,
was looking
bro.
up something useful like does cotton digest?
Yeah, I thought you were going to be like, I just looked it up.
They have like biodegradable or green shirts.
I mean, hey, you're not
like
Mike Vrabel, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I mean, and then the guys from Brandon Sports were like, you should have to eat a piece of a t-shirt until we make it back to the top 3 in the Eastern Conference starting February 1st. So I'm just wondering, like, is anyone else worried? Because about
you-
the
for
Sixers
you or the
or
Sixers?
me
I'm-
eating a t-shirt?
I'm much more worried for you. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
do you have-
Legitimately
a-
worried for you, man.
Do you have good health insurance?
I don't know. I'll have to check with HR before we leave today. I'm not really sure.
HR, hello, are you listening?
All right. This is the middle.
No, I screwed up.
Okay, so this is
Whatever.
He
doesn't
wanted
matter.
it. He wanted it.
Yeah,
so go.
yeah,
Yes.
he wanted it, so.
So this
okay,
is the
that's why I
Wawa
did it. You're
coffee
right.
style.
Wow,
right?
wow.
So Wawa collaboration with 2SP, which is like Chester,
Yeah, right out.
Area?
Yes.
Chester Ash, is that Ash?
Ashton, I think.
Aston,
Yeah,
Aston,
Aston,
not
Aston.
Aston's
Aston.
cigar bar,
Aston,
baby.
Yeah,
PA,
that's-
yeah.
It's a good
Aston.
cigar bar, by the
Aston's
way.
my neck
But,
of
yeah,
the woods.
Made with Wawa Winter Reserve coffee.
So we do a lot of coffee beers on the podcast, and we have another one here. I know this is more of an espresso one, but this one's straight coffee. Out of all the ones that we've done, and I think all the ones I've had in my life, this is like the strongest, hardest hit of just like pure black coffee I've ever
Honestly,
had. Like,
I usually hate these beers, and this is
It's
actually
like a dessert
good.
beer.
Yeah.
This is.
Oh,
I don't
if
know
you
if I
think
could
this is
drink
dessert,
like
this
3 of
is-
them.
I've never
It's
drank
not-
coffee a day in my life, but I love
Yeah,
coffee.
same.
beers.
That's what's
that-
ironic.
that's our shtick.
Probably almost half of the beers we drank so far are coffee stouts, and none of us drink coffee.
So
Oh,
like,
really?
there's
Yeah.
nothing
I like
more
coffee.
that I like is then like an espresso martini after like a really nice dinner. And
I never even heard of an espresso martini until
Dude.
today at the bar, when the girl next to us ordered an espresso martini.
I'm telling you right now,
Today is weird.
It's weird how that stuff works. You learn about something, and then
Yeah.
like you see it all
Today
over.
is weird.
yeah, I'm telling
I
you,
definitely don't drink coffee.
me?
Yeah.
No, no.
Drew
no.
doesn't consume anything.
We
I've
worked at
never seen
Wawa
the
for
guy
like
eat
6-7
weed.
years.
It
Never
sucks.
once.
Only in states that it's legal.
Then what was the bag for?
Except on the plane. Got it.
The bag
Ladies
was to
and
take it to
gentlemen,
another
we
state
got
where
it.
it was legal, and then I could indulge a little bit. But I would never do it in a state that's not legal, or at work, or around my girlfriend. So,
All right.
anyways,
Glad we got
beer,
that
right? Beer's legal, right? No, but yeah, I really like this beer. And espresso martini, I'm telling you, next time you go out to a very nice dinner, grab one of those and end the night with it. Cause
So espresso, what is that like? Is that like that like darker do you put that darker Patron in that? Is that what they do, or is it just like
I really don't even know.
okay?
Because by the end of
Or is it
dinner,
like
like,
Kahlua?
fact check.
you're drinking, but whatever it is, I mean, I'm sure it's some type of vodka, right?
don't
Martinis
do
are all
know.
vodka, or no?
Sure, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
we're drinking beer. We're a beer
Martini- I thought
podcast.
martinis with
Yeah.
tequila.
Are they? No.
Jeez, some
No.
cocktail lovers like fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Exiting the
We're
window.
not cocktail potables, okay?
Right. That's true. That's true.
Wouldn't look good on a shirt.
No.
But yeah, I mean, look, the Sixers, I personally think they're going to be okay. Sixers Twitter will 100% tell you differently, but, you know, I think the majority of Sixers Twitter, the bad parts of them, are a dying breed. I mean, there is too much good content out there. Mike Scott Hive, pretty much dead. I mean, Mike Scott's dead.
What are they gonna
Well,
do?
there's a difference
What are they
between-
gonna
The
get
Hive
excited
will
about?
always be alive.
Well, no.
He cooled off.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything personally about the people of the Mike Scott Hive, but they're going to have to find a new guy to rally around because Mike Scott is our number one trade piece
They
coming to
pretty
trade
much
now.
embraced Matisse right away.
Tobias
That's
Harris
been
then.
the
Yeah.
that's been the cushion that saved the fall.
Right.
Has been Matisse to this point.
I need him to score, though.
You're looking
Yeah.
for the Ben Simmons nest.
The Ben Simmons nest.
I thought I was in the
Tobias
trust
Harris.
tree in the nest.
Tobias Harris cave.
We still are.
But I don't know. I mean, I think the Sixers are going to be okay. I think we'll be able to
One Alec Burks away, baby.
write it. I mean, I don't even know what Joel Embiid was tweeting about the other day, but he's tweeted out, "Wow, that was quick."
That was the UFC fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I just got back from a
hold
red
on,
eye.
hold on.
I thought he was talking
Pretend
about
I didn't
his
say-
injury.
Let's pretend I didn't say that. What were you thinking?
That his hand healed very quickly and he was ready to come back and play.
He only had the surgery 10 days ago. It feels so long ago.
That's why I said. I was
Conor
like, wow, that was quick.
McGregor won the fight.
No, I
40
know
seconds.
that. I didn't put that together. I literally just got off a red eye plane and slept all day
Why were your eyes
Saturday.
red? Was it the bag?
It's come from Seattle. Another place where it is legal to smoke weed. But I woke up after sleeping all day, catching up on sleep, opened up Twitter and said, wow, that was quick. And I was like, Joel Embiid's hands fixed. It's championship time. I even tweeted it from Design Tree account. I said, championship time.
Credit to you that's where your mind went. Because when I hear, man, that was quick, that's not the first thing I think.
I was just like, it is
I go straight
time.
to the gutter, baby.
But that makes sense. He's talking about Conor McGregor, 44 seconds, knocking out the Cowboy. So
Learn
I did
something
see
new
that
every day,
too.
man.
But look, don't knock me for hoping. He said his hand was healed and he was ready to go. I was like, get him back out there. I saw him shoot with one hand.
I know it feels so long, but it's 2 weeks ago today that he injured me.
I know.
And then the unfortunate part is he waits till Friday to the surgery because they have to go through all the tests and everything. And
When you think rationally about it, you're absolutely right. But I wasn't.
we haven't had enough to drink to get past the rational part yet.
Just a little more.
Oh my God, Joel Embiid's
The first
fine.
45 to 50 minminutes of our episodes are usually nice and
been 4
constructed. I
days.
got to run down with all the numbers, and the last 20 minutes is we're cursing, and I'm trying to figure out how to end the thing. Just
By that point, we've also been drinking for an hour and a half,
That's what
despite
I
the fact
said,
that it's only timed out at about 40 minutes.
right, yeah.
Right.
We gotta get lubed up first.
All right, so moving on to another topic. I want to talk a little bit of football, not much, but Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs versus San Francisco 49ers.
Big red.
The reason why I'm bringing this up, I already mentioned it before. One of the best / funniest / worst tailgates I was ever at this year was Monday Night Football. It was a goddamn monsoon out there. And Dan, his wife, show up to our
the
tailgate.
Giants.
There's water leaking through the tents. We are drinking.
Dude,
I
you
think
could
we were
get-
taking shots of vodka. We were drinking beer, and it was an absolute.
I was monitoring it. You could get like
Mess.
lower level seats for like $37.
that Monday night game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
but I
one
bought
wanted
them
to
in the
fucking
summer
go.
on StubHub to take my wife to her first ever home game. And then I spent, 13 weeks going, is this game going to matter?
Right.
And luckily it did.
It didn't matter. It was an overtime game, but
And we stayed because we don't leave.
that's right. We don't leave.
I stayed at Steve's house,
There
where
you
it was
go.
dry.
Yeah, I stayed in a nice warm spot.
I wish I did. It's always interesting. Well, that was Monday night, so coming into work on Tuesday, but typically Monday mornings. But who you guys got in the Super Bowl? Who do you want to win? Obvious answer: Andy Reid finally getting a Super Bowl. Are we all in agreement there?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really have a rooting interest. I have no issue with Andy. If he gets one, I'll be very happy for him. I'm not going to be upset if he doesn't either. I mean, if it's not the Eagles, I'm usually only watching because I bet it. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm betting the Niners, and I'm hammering the over until it gets up much higher.
Yeah.
Came out like 51.5. When I woke up, it was already at 53.5. So I got it at that. I have the feeling it gets to probably more like 55, 56. And then at that point, I'm not so sure. So I take it now. Got San Francisco on the money line at better than even money.
Yeah.
Which I think it's going to kind of, I could see it seesawing a little bit. Like, I think the initial reports were that Kansas City was going to be like a 2.5 point favorite. It's already 1.5.
I saw 1.5. Yeah.
I think it'll be a pick.
It could very easily get to a pick 'em.
Yeah.
I definitely think they're going to score. I don't have any concerns about either team scoring. My biggest thing, if I'm just trying to be like analytical about it, is like Mahomes is obviously a monster and they have all these weapons, but we've seen the Niners put up points. The Niners defense is so much better than the Kansas City defense. They're getting credit for that Titans game, and rightfully so. But the Titans are also the Titans with a lot of young players and with Ryan Tannehill back there, who I bet them through the playoffs. I made money on them. I was
There you
all in,
go,
but
yeah.
I flipped right on that in that Chiefs game. That was the end of the line.
Yeah.
And they still gave up 24 points.
I mean, Jimmy G only thrown 8 passes in the championship game.
They're not running like that again, though.
No. Rasheed
Why
Mostert.
not?
They just stopped Derrick Henry for what, like 70 yards?
69 yards.
but
yeah,
that's
nice.
because that's
Nice.
all that they had.
Right.
And also Tennessee had already
That's true.
they had
but-
gone so heavy on it. Like, for all you know, it had taken a toll on him the past couple of weeks. He was over 30 carries, I think, each week in these tough games, monstering that workload.
Yeah.
It just seems like the Niners have done a good job balancing it all year, and they have the weapons to make you pay for it.
Yeah.
Kittle, Sanders, Deebo Samuel, they have some guys,
USC guy.
and Jimmy G's competent. Whether you think he's good or not, I really don't have a good read on him because he threw 8 passes. That's how good.
That's the thing, though.
That's how good
if
they
can
are.
stop the run and get ahead a little bit,
Yeah.
then the 49ers are in trouble because Jimmy G is not that quarterback that's going to
Well,
win
I
a Super
don't know.
Bowl. He's not going to put up a Nick Foles performance.
I don't know. I mean, if you asked me even 2 years ago, is Jimmy G better than Nick Foles? I'd have said yes. And I would say it now because look at what Nick did in Jacksonville. I mean, I trust Shanahan and the Niners coaching staff based on everything they've done this year more than I trust Andy Reid and Spagnuolo based on their entire history. Sorry to say it. Yeah. I just don't know. I don't really trust. You give that Niners coaching staff 2 weeks to prepare for that, I trust them a little bit more.
I don't care who wins the game. I'm in it for the commercials. I hate that guy at the party, by the way.
Oh, I thought you were
There's always that guy.
serious.
No.
I thought you were serious.
No, you're in it for the McRib you're making.
Dan, you
I
have to
am.
zoom in on my face while
Yeah.
Steve said that because I was looking at him like, are you, what?
Yeah, I'll zoom in on both of our faces.
No.
Did you really bring this guy here?
I know. I was about to
Now, if you just
He actually sold me on it.
whether just looking at my waistline or if you happen to see my Instagram feed, I'm in it for the food. I'm making a McRib sandwich, M-I-C-K rib.
Your own?
sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's done it once before.
M-I-C-K.
Yeah.
That actually brings up, a good point because I know you guys are kind of getting into YouTube for sure and kind of branching out and doing some food stuff, right?
Yeah, we're trying to put together a little cooking with beer and beer pairing video to make a couple things for a tailgate, a watch party,
Nice.
Super Bowl. So we're gonna try and have that up the week before the Super Bowl, so that if you're looking for something cool to do, Steve's doing you're doing wings and chicken lollipops.
Yep.
Chicken
And
lollipops.
we're talking about beer you can pair with eating those.
Nice.
And then my wife's doing a couple things. She's doing pretzels with a beer cheese that she's actually uses the beer to make. And then what's it? Did she do another thing?
She made pretzels from
Right.
scratch.
And then she's doing some kind of bark with a stout too, or something. I
wow.
think so. We're trying to figure out exactly all that's going to be in there, but basically we're going to go through the prep, actually making it the ingredients, and then we're going to kind of sit down, try it all, see how it came out, and then talk about the beers that were either used in it or that we're pairing with it, and sit there and enjoy it, and then hopefully people may want to check out the recipes or whatever for the Super Bowl or whatever else they have coming up.
I'm super excited about this because Dan and Korey here, they grew up being musicians. They're very creative minds, and I am not the creative guy in this. Except for when it comes to food, and I've over the years I grew up with a mom that couldn't cook, so I've kind of taught myself things, and now I've kind of rolled into a barbecue thing on the side, just learning how to smoke meats and stuff. So
Nice.
There you go.
if there's something I know more about beer or basketball, it's food.
There you go.
There's some kind of joke to be made about smoking meats in him. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I hear it all the time.
Probably from me.
Yeah.
But that's awesome, and that I'm super into it because you guys are kind of even more branching out, creating more content. Trying to capture a different avenue and stuff like that. And I know, obviously you have your whole brewery tours that you guys do with live pods. What else you guys have going on in 2020? I know there's a bunch of stuff. One thing I'm excited about, which I still want to come, is to AC Beer Fest.
So, not sure. We've kind of put it out there a little bit.
Sorry.
I think it's fine because we were told we have to promote it. So, I mean, they told us to promote it. So
Breaking.
We'll be on the podcast stage at the Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival. That's April 4th and 5th.
Yes.
April
No, I think it's the 3rd and the 4th.
3rd and 4th, you're right. 3rd and 4th. April 3rd and 4th. 3 sessions, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. It's like 150 breweries, vendors, bands. The main stage bands are Newfound Glory in the early November Friday night.
Max is shaking his head in approval about that.
Goldfinger on Saturday afternoon and Against Me on Saturday night.
Wow.
And I'm trying to think, the other support was like Suicide Machines and Iron Chick.
Iron Chic.
Nah, I don't think that's what it is.
Dude, that you pronounce chic that way. That is chic.
Okay.
CHIC. Chic.
Well, we said he'd do the wrestling.
We got motherfuckers.
So we'll be there for all 3 sessions. I don't know much else except that we're going to be creating as much content as we possibly can. Obviously doing episodes, but hopefully being able to like go around and shoot some video, hang out, talk to people. Good Time Tricycle, which is a production company that puts on a ton of events in Atlantic City, like the Beer Fest, like the Seafood Fest, the Hop Trot, like so many things down there. I think they might do the Tattoo Convention. Like almost anything big festival style in Atlantic City runs through them. Awesome people. We've gone for like, I think this will be our 6th year, but the first year we're obviously going as like media, which is crazy. We're really excited about that. So we'll have tickets to give away and stuff like that. So we'll definitely be figuring out how to go about that the best way. And then the YouTube as well. We want to generate more video content, especially when we're at the breweries or even just talking more Sixers stuff like bonus pod type content, or even trying to do some beer and cooking kind of stuff on the side. Whatever we can, bring from our lives in to just put stuff out there for people to check out. And then also on our website, processpotables.com.
Go like this. Bing.
Bing.
Dan will put it right where your finger was.
We have like a blog section that,
I will.
like when I started this, I was also writing a lot about the Sixers. And since the podcast kind of took off, I've gotten away from writing as much because I've so much to do just with the podcast. But try to write when I can. And we're actually in the process of looking for writers to write for the website so that we can keep pumping out content. Talk to a couple people. If anybody watching this is interested, absolutely, hop in our DMs on Twitter.
Dan's email address.
Ding, bing. But we're talking about not only just writing regular Sixers content, but also having further conversation on stuff we talk about on the podcast, or even there's a couple people that actually messaged me about talking beer, which I honestly didn't even think to do on the blog part. I've been all I've written about is sports, so to actually write about that. So I even talked about somebody doing a monthly recap of all the beers we do in the month. So if each episode we talk about a beer, then at the end of every month we'll have an article. It's hey, this was the beer from that week, and these are the hops they say are in it. Here, this is what this hop, the flavor profile it gives, and when you make a beer that has coffee in it, this is how you get the coffee flavor. This is how they implement coffee into the beer. And if you like this beer, then here's some other ones, from the area that are like that.
Sure.
So promote more breweries, promote more stuff, and also educate on the beer aspect of it. Because I've learned so much just in a year of doing this, and I still know so little. So I'm hoping to learn from that and learn from the people that start writing for us.
Absolutely. And if you ever need anyone just to come drink beer and give you a thumbs up or thumbs down,
Dude, that's why we started it.
Contact me.
We're just gonna get to drink beer, and people are gonna pay attention to us doing it. It's kind of nuts.
No.
We already drank beer.
Speaking of drinking beer,
We already drank beer. We already watched the sports, and we'll talk the shit about it anyway. So you might as well record it for some jabron to listen to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
surprisingly, some people listen to it.
No, and I think that's a great idea too. I mean, even when you're just talking about it, it's just when you're looking at different types of beers and all that stuff, I think that's such a cool part of what you guys do. Obviously Sixers, we're all diehard Sixers fans, but having that thing about beer where, you might not know what's going on or what you're drinking, because I rarely ever do. Just hanging out with you guys and drinking these beers, and you're don't drink them too fast, taste them and everything. That's just, I don't know. It's cool to me.
So
it's
you
new.
thought that the 2SP Wawa Club was sweet, almost like a dessert beer. This is from Flying Fish, arguably the best interview we've done in the entire year plus with this podcast. They were so friendly to us, and kind of scared to go there because like they're a pretty big brewer.
Yeah.
Are they
Like,
Delaware?
no, they're in Summerdale, New Jersey.
South Jersey.
They're right by us. So like
Okay.
we did Victory. We did a full NBA Draft live pod there for like 6 hours, but we didn't get to speak to anybody from Victory. So like it was cool to do it. They were great, but we didn't really like get the Victory story because we didn't get to interview anybody.
Right.
We went to Goose Island. You know, Goose Island's from Chicago. They had the Philly Brew Pub, which is amazing. We're there all the time.
Right down near Punchline, right?
Yeah, right in
that's great.
Fish
That's where I'm
Town,
at.
Northern
That's
Liberty.
where I live.
So, like, I love it there. And we did speak to one of the people that work in the brewery there, but at the same time, like, it's not really their origin or anything because, like, they're kind of like a satellite location. So very cool. But like Flying Fish was like, okay, like, we went to their full location. Like, they're big. They're, you know, New Jersey, you know, born and bred.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like, we must have talked to them for at least 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was a great
And
interview.
we were talking like heavy business because a lot of the breweries are so new. The craft beer industry is so new. It's booming so quickly that almost everywhere we go, it's like, oh man, like you just celebrated your 1 year anniversary. You're coming up on your 2 year anniversary.
Or there are a lot of times these guys they quit their 9 to 5 job to open their brewery.
Yeah.
Like you see that a lot, but these guys were on a whole other level.
I mean, yeah, they were. I mean, most of them came from big beer, and then they started in like the mid '90s, really, and they were one of like the first ones really doing craft beer. And then like the wave comes in, and I even told them I said, to be completely honest with you, when I started getting into it, I saw all your stuff there, but it almost seemed like that was like the old school. And there were all these new ones coming. There's all these beers that are like, oh, we have chocolate and peanut butter, and we're sour, and we have 3 different fruit flavors, and you think, oh, that's so cool, and then they're just sitting there with, a pale ale and an IPA and a red ale, and you're like, it's kind of boring. So then, they were able to explain to us, like yeah, they kind of did go through that. Like, we weren't wrong.
Right.
And they explained how they had to kind of
Like
catch back,
themselves,
back up with like the modern market, and now they're absolutely killing it. And this is
You can literally taste like
this is dessert.
I literally, like I said before, I never liked these kind of beers, and now I'm gonna order one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
That's why,
order
like,
something.
and like kind of what you
These are
mentioned
great.
earlier, like I never really drank espresso anything, but over the weekend, I had an espresso barbecue sauce that was delicious. And now it's awesome.
So when we went
Yeah,
there,
this
we
is
had
really
this.
good.
We had a fried ice cream stout,
Oh wow.
and then
Wow,
and then like
what?
fried ice cream stout, and then like one of their staples now that I absolutely love, and I love it because it's at Topgolf, so I'm able to drink it every time I'm there. Is Salt and Sea,
Drew's
which is
great
like
at that.
this real sweet, like strawberry sour kind of IPA, and it's the perfect amount of just a little bit of salt, but it's very, very sweet. Like you can crush them. It doesn't really taste. It just tastes like juice. So like I'm not really into the whole spiked seltzer craze or anything because I'm not a seltzer guy, but I know people love it. But like that's close to it for me. Like that's when like okay, like I don't really feel like drinking like beer. Like I want to drink like a juice kind of thing. Like
Right.
Salt and Sea is so good.
But like when you drink these, you don't drink like multiple ones of these, do you?
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, like,
yeah. I
if
feel
I
like
buy a
I couldn't
six-pack
get
of
like
these-
wasted off.
Right.
these.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the thing that's nice about when we actually go to these breweries is you can get a flight of these. So you get like a 4-ounce pour and you can try different ones. A lot of the stuff they don't even can. So the only way you can get it is when you go to these breweries. So you can sit there, you
okay.
can
You
go
go
and you
get
can try what you
growler.
like. And if they have it can, you can buy it there. But sometimes with distribution, the only way you're getting it is by going there. So we're getting right in there. We're getting to actually try some of this stuff and talk about it. And we're talking essentially by people listening to this pod and talking about it. You can talk people into the building.
Right.
Because you have to come down there, especially if it's something that's limited, get it while it's hot.
And the flights are so perfect because it's like $8 for try 4 different ones. They're like 5 ounces
Yeah,
a piece,
I love
so
this.
it's 20 ounces worth of beer. Most of them are usually more like 7 to 10%.
Right.
And it's like if you don't know what it is, you don't want to commit to 16 ounces. You take a sip and you're like, well, this sucks. You just paid $7 for a
Yeah.
pour.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it doesn't always have to be this beer sucks, but this beer is awesome. Sometimes you just get those beers. You're like, this is really good, but I don't know if I would enjoy a full pour of it.
Right.
There's also you can categorize it that way.
And that's why we use Untapped, which is cool too. So it's like social media for beer.
Yeah.
So you can check in your beers and you can rate them. So it's great for us, especially us two, at AC Beer Fest every year. And we're like, man, like what do we like? And you type it in, you can see, I had it before. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then also for the people that use it and follow us, every time we do one, we tag it in there. That way you can find it because you can see what places have it and stuff, and you can see our rating. And there's like category profiles, so you check like, oh, I thought it was sweet, I thought it was tart, I thought it was sour. Like all the like adjectives are already built into the thing. You just kind of check the tags.
That's cool. Does that like go to the brewer then, and then they see like the
so
feedback
like
they're
you
getting?
can sort by all that. So yeah, like we've been to breweries where they've told us that like Untapped is one of their biggest like marketing and like basically like a learning thing for them. To get feedback on their beer. And when you go to most breweries now that like they all like TVs and screens and stuff, a lot of times like their menu will be up there
And have
like through like on top, and you'll see like the people checking in and their ratings, and even like next to their beer, it'll be the Untapped like thing of it, and it'll say like, oh, like this beer like 3.88 out of 5. Like you can see like basically in real time.
Sure.
I feel like I've seen that before.
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
And it's interesting too because if you go to a certain place nearby fairly often, sometimes beers they may be different than when they were produced a year ago.
Right.
And I'm not even talking about things that are barrel aged or anything like that. I knew like one beer that always stuck out was the Dogfish Head, the pumpkin. Their beer like some year to year just tastes a little bit different, and sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not as good. So Untapped's a great resource for that. Maybe your palate changes, but sometimes the brewery may change the flavor of the hops or something. So
Yeah. And one time,
I'm getting that out.
So I never liked mustard until a couple of years ago.
I don't like mustard, so this is interesting.
So when you're eating things, I don't even know where I'm going with this.
So many varieties.
Let me tell you this: your palate like does change. Like I hated mustard. I hated
Great
the smell
insight.
of it. I hated looking at it. Like I hated mustard. And then all of a sudden, like I ate mustard, and I was like, "Wow, I love mustard."
Yeah, I was like that with mayo.
I don't even know if that has to do anything, but I just thought.
No, I mean I never well it's funny you say because like I never liked mustard and I never liked pickles, and I still don't really like both of them. Like
You don't like pickles?
But like I found things where like I do want them on it. Like last night I had a Cuban sandwich, and like I get it with the pickles, with the mustard. Like you just that's how it has to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Popeyes, the sandwich. I keep the pickles on it.
Yeah.
Those pickles are
I can't believe
banging.
you don't like pickles.
I mean, I guess
don't
now
like
I
pickles
might.
either.
I don't know.
The
Like,
problem is this: there's so many different types of pickles. You probably have had pickles that you just don't like and just kind of associate them all.
yeah.
With the same.
Like I mean, growing up,
There
it
are
was like okay,
different
well,
types.
like I wanted a burger from
like the
McDonald's,
award.
and the pickles on it were awful, and I had to pick them off.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's tough.
and like
But-
Chick-fil-A,
but a lot
I
of
hate
people,
having the
that's
pickles
what they
on
think
it.
of a pickle. They think of like that cheap, crappy pickle.
Yeah.
with the,
Right.
little
But then, like
flavor.
to tie it to the beer, so like I don't know if you remember, like the first time we went to Dogfish,
yeah.
Dogfish makes their own pickles too, and like they're basically like IPA, they're like IPA brine. I think you can get them at like Trader Joe's and like Whole Foods now.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
And I met like we were down there, and my wife bought like a jar of them, and she's like, "You have to try it. Like this is like the best pickle I've ever had." And that was like the first one. I'm like, okay, like this is actually okay.
That's what you guys.
I like
did
those
to
like
me.
half pickled cucumbers. You ever had those where it's like a pickle, but it's not like fully pickled?
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's half pickled.
It's half
Peter
pickled.
Piper picked up.
There's like a
pickled
name
peppers.
for them, but like
I don't think I'm about that life. I want it
No.
to be fully pickled.
Full
you
measure.
don't. You want like a half pickled cucumber.
I knew this was gonna get weird, but
Yeah.
I was
Talking
really
about
trying to
pick-
watch my
Talking
words.
about
right?
pickles for 15
want a
minutes.
Because
half
then I was going to say, well,
Cucumber,
present your
guys.
half
What do you mean?
pickled cucumber, and I was like, no, yeah,
It's
there we
just
go.
5 guys talking about pickles.
The only problem is like I went into Wegmans the other night. I'm
It
trying
all
to find
started with
half
mustard.
pickled pickles. I don't even know if they're half pickled pickles or half pickled cucumbers.
Well, there's one place that would have that. It's Wegmans because they.
Yeah.
fucking
Well, they
everything
didn't. I would.
goddamn
No,
same.
everyone looked at me like I
The
was
lesson
crazy.
is
person.
palates can change.
If you would have told me that we would be talking about mustard, pickles, and your marijuana problem, I would not have
do
guessed
not.
that.
There's no marijuana problem here.
there's
Okay.
clearly no problem. He has a duffel bag full of it. He's good.
The problem with the double bag is not
No
empty. And
problem
he needs a
there.
reason to go back to California.
I was just.
I'll tell you,
like
dude.
I
Enough
said,
of it, and you won't mind eating a shirt.
I mean, that's actually
That's
not
a
a bad
strategy.
point. Actually, that's
strategy.
actually not a bad point. But I will say, my one buddy Naj, who has missed the last 2 episodes, Naj, and I don't even know if you
Shake my
watch
head.
these, but now you're gonna watch.
Come
When
on,
we
Naj.
first got your store up and everything, he's like, what do these guys talk about weed and beer? Because like
The hop.
because he doesn't
He just saw
drink
a
at all.
nug.
He doesn't drink, so he never has
there
taken
you
a sip
go.
of alcohol, and he saw that nug. He's like, what do these guys just get stoned and talk about the Sixers? It's like,
I mean,
Oh, wait a
it
minute.
has
Wait a
happened.
minute.
That's a nice spot.
Do you have t-shirts made of hemp? Because maybe that's a
we do,
transition.
we do. We have
Okay.
eco-friendly and handmade
Okay.
T-shirts.
Cotton tee. Like,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
gotta
maybe
figure. You gotta figure out.
ease your stomach.
Drew,
into
here's
it.
what you gotta do.
Just
You gotta
an
call.
idea.
You
I'm
gotta
not a
call Alpha
scientist,
Broder, and you gotta be like, hey, what T-shirt do you recommend?
They have
eating?
to have some type of like edible T-shirts, like you know.
They have
now we're getting
edible
to a-
underwear. They have
I was
edible
gonna say, if we
t-shirts,
want to go
right?
down this path now, you know, you can get like edible underwear and stuff like that. Like, but I'm not even
and a
worried about
strap-on
it
pickle.
because we are going to be in the top 3 by the end of January.
Top 3 by the end of January.
There we go.
Somehow tied it back to sports.
I
It'd be
know.
amazing.
You like that? I mean,
Look
come
at
on.
that.
We're 4 episodes in, and I got this shit on lock. But, guys, we gotta wrap it up. That was a
Keyword.
great segment. Every single episode, we drop a keyword. If someone makes it through an entire episode,
Good
They-
luck. Through the last
they
15
tweet us.
minutes.
Now,
Thank you.
3 episodes in, and we have gotten a tweet about it with the keyword, and we give that person a shirt from now the Potables store. So come up with a keyword. If someone makes it
Good, there's a
through,
lot of good options here.
any keyword related
I
to
think
this
pickle
episode.
strap-on's my favorite.
Pickle strap on, okay.
You have to hyphenate
What-
that to
what-
make it
what-
one word.
That, that's a,
What
if
about
someone
animal
replied
style?
with that,
Yeah, animal style.
I think that
Going
reply
for
Animal
would draw a lot
style?
of interest.
Yeah.
They'd be like, pickle strap on. What is this about? And then they.
All right, well, we're down to 2 choices.
Yeah, well,
Pickles.
we both picked, and you're the third man. You're the Hogan.
I don't even. Where did
Well, let me
pickle
tell you
strap
something,
on
brother.
come- Where did pickle strap on come from?
He said it earlier.
The guy who talks about the food.
No, I said it.
You said the pickle strap on?
Yeah, he's about edible underwear.
Where the fuck was I?
You're right here,
Fucking I. Well, he said he picked it for the.
buddy. You gonna pick one or not?
Yeah, you got to break that.
Keyword
down.
is
Gimmick.
Holy shit. I like animal style.
Animal
better.
style.
All right.
So if you watch this entire thing, I don't know why you would, but we hope you do. Keyword is animal style. We'll send out a tweet. We'll cut this video, so we won't even actually say the keyword, and it's your decision, or your, not decision. Just tweet us the keyword, and we'll send you whatever shirt you want from the Potables store. And that's a wrap, guys. I mean, thank you so much for coming in. This was so much fun. And please, like, you guys got to put out more content about beer because this whole side of beer drinking is totally new to me.
Me too.
Sounds like it's new to you.
Yeah.
And I mean, this was awesome. I might just invite
When
you on every episode.
I get to a
Yeah.
restaurant, I just go percentage. Oh, 7.8? Yeah, I'll take that.
Everybody's been guilty of that.
It kind of started that
that's
way,
fine.
and then you start figuring out which ones
Yeah.
are also good.
But that's also what I said. Is so when you go to these breweries, you're like, okay, I like peanut butter porters, and everybody's trying to do it. But like, there's only some that are really good. So, you know, you take that gamble when you go to a random bar and see, oh, I like this, and you order it, and you commit to that full pour.
I've
so.
definitely.
I'm just going to
regretted
tweet
it.
you guys anytime I buy beer, and you just tell me what to buy.
There you go.
Deal?
Yeah.
Deal.
Sounds good to
Take a
us.
picture
Alright.
of the
Alright.
That is a
fridge.
wrap. Episode 4 featuring Process Potables. As always, I'm here with Dan Lear. We will be back next week, possibly with Kyle and the Underground Sports Guys. If
yeah.
not,
My
I
dude.
don't
They're
know.
just trying to get you back with more beer.
Well,
Do they bring beers?
Probably
mean,
not.
if they
I
have
think that
Kyle
should
Process
be-
doesn't, Kyle
Potables,
doesn't drink.
I think that should be a new requirement.
I mean, if you're part of Underground Sports, Process Potables, I think you have to. So,
He's the boss now, man.
I mean, that's true. He is the boss. But we'll be back next week, hopefully with Underground Sports. If not, we will let you
third
know.
time's the charm.
My name's Drew Smith. I'm here as always with Dan Lear, and that's a motherfucking.
Hanging out at the treehouse.